Hello, it's Diane here and welcome to my channel Diane's Sewing Room, and if you're coming back, welcome back. Now the last video I shared, I thought I'd do a Friday sews video, and I've decided that's a really good time for me to post each week, so that's what I'm going to do. Try and keep up with my videos on a Friday. And what I've been doing this week is I've been making the Marlow sweater again. So it's a cardigan, and I did share some fabric in my last video, a woodland fabric, which a lot of you liked, and I was really pleased about that because my husband didn't like it, but I really liked it. And it's fur bag, so it's really cosy. And I know we're coming into sort of spring summer here in the UK when I'm filming this now, but it still gets really cool and we like to go away in a caravan and it gets chilly, and it's nice to have something like that, a little sweater to put on. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. Now, the last time I made it, I made the long version. So if you've made this sweatshirt cardigan before, you'll know that you can make two versions. So you can make the long one, the long version with the pockets, or you can make the shorter crop version. Now, they're both quite oversized with a drop sleeve. And the one that I've made in the past, so I'll come to my new version in a moment, and I'll also share a couple of hacks for how I've managed to get it out of less fabric. So I have got it out of a metre of fabric, which is brilliant because it says 2 metres or just under on the pattern for my size. And I've managed to get it out of 1, and I like to do this. I've shared that in the past. If you can get it out with less fabric, then that's a win-win, isn't it? So I'll share that in a moment, but here's the one that I've made previously, and I made the long line version. So if you've been before, you'll have seen this already, but you may be new here. So this is the long line version of it that I made with the pockets. So it's got deep pockets here, and it's got 4 buttons, large oversized buttons down the front on this one. And I wore this already and it's really warm, and this one is in a French terry. So that's the long line version of the sweater. Now the shorter version, I'm going to flip you around so you can see it on the mannequin, and then I will also show it on so you can see what it looks like. And it does have 3 buttons on the crop version, but I only had 2 of the oversized white ones because I didn't go out and buy anything special sort of notions wise, I just bought the fabric. So I had these 2 large ones in my stash that are the same colour but a different design. I like to mismatch them sometimes. But I didn't have another one that size in white, so I may add another, but for now I think it works really well with 2. So I'll flip you around and show you that. So here it is with the 2 buttons at the front. I'm really loving the way it turned out. It's got a really lovely cosy feel because it is, on the inside, this gorgeous sort of fur back effect. It's so soft, it's really nice. So these are the 2 buttons that I've gone for, and as you can see, one's quite chunky and sort of domed, and this one is the same sort of size, slightly different shade, but it doesn't matter, slightly different shade of white, but the same size but a different style. So I've got 2 going on there, and I think that's enough, to be honest. I mean, you should have another one here, but I don't think I'll be having it done up to there that often anyway, so I think it's fine with 2. Let me know what you think. And then of course it has the cuffs that are like this, which are the same as they are on the longer one, but they're just a little bit shorter. On the longer version you've got a deeper cuff. And I'm going to explain in a moment a couple of things that I've managed to do, a couple of little hacks that I've managed just to make sure that I got this out of metre of fabric. So here it is on. I really like it. It's just the right length, I think. And I've got a bit of a wild skirt on today, so rather too many patterns going on at the moment, but that's okay. So I wasn't intending on wearing it today. It's not that cold today, but I have got a sweatshirt on already. I'm wearing my green one that goes with this skirt, all handmade of course. And this skirt that I'm wearing today is the other version of the olive green one that I shared quite recently, but it's in this wild print. But yeah, this is my shorter version of my sweater, and I really love it. I think it's a really good fit. So I made the 4. I do find that it is oversized. So 4 does sound like a small size, but they are quite oversized, these sweaters. So there's plenty of room in it. Turn around so you can see the back. And the sleeves are plenty long enough, and I've got long arms, so plenty of room in the sleeves. It's got this nice band which keeps your neck warm as well. And there's lots of room here for if you've got something underneath it, because I know some cardigans, you put them on and then you feel a bit restricted if you've got something underneath and your sleeves tend to bunch up underneath. But look, there's plenty of room, so that's really good for if you're wanting to wear it over things when it's cold and you're wearing a few layers. So I do think that the 2 buttons work just okay. Let me know what you think, but I don't think it needs another one. I think that's fine. And I like my little woodland creatures that I've got on my fabric. I know lots of you like that, and so do I. My husband hasn't seen it yet because I've just finished it just now today, so I'm going to pop downstairs and show it him and see if he's changed his mind. So he's busy downstairs putting a door on for us, so that's what he's up to. So now I'm going to share a couple of things that I did to make sure that I could get this sweater out of my metre of fabric. Now, I only bought a metre because the fabric was it £18? It was expensive. It was expensive per metre, and I don't usually spend that much on fabric, but if there's a piece you really want, it's good to get what you like. But sometimes it's better still if you can eke out a smaller amount, because a lot of the patterns, I do feel, suggest you get a certain amount for laying out your pieces, and this is great if you're a beginner because you really do need to follow that to the letter. But if you play around with it, you usually find that you can get it out of less fabric. And in this case, it was a lot less. So it would be even easier if you were using plain fabric, because having a fabric with a print on like this always makes it harder, because you've got to make sure that that design is going in the same direction, excuse me, on all your bits, because you don't want some of your animals upside down in some places. So you have to make sure that everything is lying in the right direction. So that can make it harder to be creative with your pattern piece placement. So what I found was, because I have got a print on mine, I laid out my pieces, I had to jiggle around with them, and I found it wasn't going to work for some of the pieces. Mainly this bottom band, which was one of the last pieces to cut, because obviously I made sure I could fit my largest piece on first of all. And of course this front central band, because the direction had to be going this way, but even this one was hanging over, having it laid out in the direction it should go. So I just left that as it was for the time being, with it on the fabric to have a think. And then I started trying to place my band pieces. So these, or piece, it should have been in one piece. This bottom piece here was not going to work. There wasn't enough left, because I'd cut the pieces going in the direction that they should go, and there was only a small amount left at the bottom that it was already cut. It wasn't long enough to have a piece on the fold. So here is what I did. So first of all, when you lay your pattern on your fabric, a lot of people straight away when they get their fabric will lay it out exactly as it is. So I've got a piece of fabric here just to show you what I mean. And you've got it edge to edge at this side, so you've got these two self edges together at this side, and you've got your fold, and they will lay all of the fabric out like that, completely folded in half, and start laying your pattern pieces. Now, unless it's otherwise stated on the pattern, because some pieces of pattern placement do tell you to fold it differently, a lot do say just to fold it like this, and then you're going to find you have huge areas where you're wasting fabric. So if you're trying to eke it out of a small amount, it's always best to fold it like this to begin with. So this has got a chunk missing because it's been used for something, but fold it with one side in and the rest singular like this, first of all, and see if you can get your folded fabric pieces in as small a fold as you can down one side. So look, I've only folded in this much. Now, of course, this will vary on what size you are. It's always best to give it a try, because you just don't know until you experiment. You're not cutting anything yet. You're just laying out your pieces, placing them on, moving them around, pinning them where necessary, and just having another look and another think before you start. Because once you've done this, even if you've got the right amount of fabric that it says on the pattern this time, it might mean that the next time you make this pattern, it might be a favourite you discover. You can order less then, can't you, if you have a little try. So fold it like this first of all, which is what I did, and I managed to get out my back piece, but I made sure it was right to the very edge here. So the fold was on the fold line, but the side of it came literally quite close to this raw edge here. And I found that I could do that. And then below that I managed to cut out my front pieces, which are obviously not on the fold, but within the same fold line. So that was the first thing. But then the band at the bottom that I said wouldn't fit once I'd got my back, front and sleeves, it was supposed to be on the fold. So I'll hold it up and show you. So here is the bottom of my cardigan, my sweater. And the whole of this band is supposed to be on the fold, with the fold being here, centre back. Because I didn't have enough to do that, I've cut it in sections. So I cut to this length to here. So this is one piece, all going in the right direction with the animals, of course, and then this piece. Even with a join, that still wasn't going to be long enough. So I cut another small piece. So here at the back of my sweater, so I'll hold that up near so you can see. This is the centre back of my sweater. We've got a join here and we've got a join here. So that is the centre back band of my sweater. It's in 3 pieces. So 2 longer pieces and 1 shorter piece at the back. But that did mean then that I've got my band and it all fit. So that is one thing. The other thing that was ever so slightly not enough fabric was this front band that goes around your neck here. So it almost did it. It was almost enough. But at the top here, where I'd cut out one of my other pieces, I think it was the sleeves, laying my pattern pieces on, it just went off at a slight curve like that. But it was only a small amount, maybe a centimetre or so. So I thought, this is not really a problem. What will happen is, where it meets and joins, because this is in 2 pieces, your front band, they join at the centre back neck, it just curves a little bit. So I don't know if you can see that, it's only ever so slightly. And you can manipulate it a little when you're putting, turning under the bit that goes on the inside that you hand stitch as well. You can make sure that you turn under slightly less at either side and slightly more at that point where you've got more fabric, sort of thing. So it just means that maybe that just dips down a little in the centre back neck. So it's maybe a little higher at each side, and where it meets, it just comes in a little bit like that, where there wasn't quite enough. But it's not noticeable. I don't think so. When you're wearing that, nobody is going to notice that. And I would imagine on some sweaters that is a feature that happens anyway. So they were 2 of the things that I did. Other than that, I managed to fit it all out of a metre. So if you're a size 4, using these tips, you can manage to fit this sweatshirt out of a metre. If you're a bigger size, then I would still have a go at laying out some fabric you have, or maybe some paper on the floor, and experimenting with it. You probably still can fit this short version out of less fabric. In fact, I'd say you definitely can, because instead of buying the required amount, maybe you can buy 1/4 of a metre less, or maybe even 1/2 a metre less. If you experiment, you'll probably find that it'll work. So I'm really pleased with that. Let me know your thoughts on that one. The Marlow sweatshirt cardigan, if you've made it, if you're planning on making it now. If you've managed to do it for less fabric, I would like to know. And if you prefer the short version or the long version as well, it'd be great to know about that. Oh, I almost forgot, this sweater I'm wearing today is a Birder sweatshirt. Where have I put it? It's behind me. So it's Birder sweatshirt, and it's this one here. So it's in 2-tone on the cover, and I've just done it in plain green, and it's 6246 Birder. Another nice easy one, and you can see it's got a band around the bottom, cuffs, it's a good fit, and I've just done it in this cotton sweatshirting fabric, green, and it's a favourite of mine. I really like it, and I really like how the neck sits on this one, because they're not always great, are they, when you make them? I always find I have to fiddle with them and adjust them and make them fit me, but this one did fit really nice. So, and I've put myself some notes on the back there. Look, what have I put here? Only needs one. So another one only needs 1 metre of fabric if 150 centimetres wide. So I've given myself some notes on the back of there so that I know that next time I make it, I can make it with less fabric. So if you like this one, what I'm wearing today, that's what this is. So that's all from me for today. I've got some more sewing to do. I've got my kilo dress to make. I don't know if I'm going to be making that today, but I have got some more underwear to make as well. So that's all for now. I've really enjoyed making it. I'm sure there'll be plenty more of those sweaters in future to come because they're really handy to have, and they're a good quick make as well, I think. Great for a beginner because there's not a lot to it, and it also gives you two options. So I've gone for the intermediate version because I know how to make a cardigan anyway, but if you're new, it shows you like a couple of easy tips of ways you don't have to turn the banding on the inside, you can just do it all in one go, things like that. Same with the cuffs. And they're really clear instructions. There's a little booklet inside that you get with it with clear instructions and diagrams, so I think that's really nice as well. So that's all from me for today. I'll be back soon with some more sewing, and I'd love to hear from you. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Bye for now.